And this idea that somehow striking on Friday as opposed to Wednesday as opposed to Thursday makes any strategic difference has no basis in reality. So we think that, yes, there's some armchair quarterbacking going on because it's political season, but we are also very confident in the steps we have taken in response. So far, they have been well planned, they have been well executed, and that will continue to be the case.
Is it correct then to read that it didn't change your effectiveness in reaching your targets, or what you were trying to do to degrade these proxies' military capabilities, telegraphing it, that is?
When you select a military target, timing matters, and this idea that somehow striking on Friday as opposed to Wednesday as opposed to Thursday makes any strategic difference has no basis in reality. When you select a military target, timing matters.
As we enter into the campaign season, the American people are beginning to focus on President Biden's incredible track record of results.
According to a recent ABC News Ipsos poll, President Biden's approval rating has dropped to a new low, 33%.
And now wages beating prices. This is good news for working families.
Although some are saying that the wage gains we're seeing after the hours worked were fewer hours in the work week, and that sort of balances that out, and just in terms of the good news there. Why do you think we saw that?
I think that's probably in the mix. If you kind of take out the hours effect, you still have a pretty strong wage number, but it probably does come down a tenth or two if you look at the month over month. Easing inflation, rising real pay is finally reaching families, and they're feeling it.
By a 49 to 21 margin, voters believe former President Trump will be better for their finances than President Biden.
The first day of his administration, the president took this issue very seriously. He put forth a comprehensive piece of legislation to deal with what's happening with the immigration. You don't get to decide, but you don't get to decide what I say and what I don't say. Either you hear me out, or we can, I'll see you on Wednesday. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. All right. Okay. He means what he says. Not going to go into details here. Here's the reality. The immigration system is broken. It's been broken for decades, even in the last administration. The president introduced this piece of legislation 3 years ago. House Republicans got in the way. They refused to do anything about it. The president is very clear. He wants to make sure that we deal with the border security, that we deal with the challenges at the border.
Another area where Biden is struggling to break through, immigration. A critical issue for voters. Our polling shows just 18% of Americans approve of Biden's handling of the issue.
House Speaker said yesterday they're going to put up a standalone Israel aid package. Would the White House sign it if it gets there?
We are in good, active discussions on the Senate side. In a bipartisan way to get
the bigger deal with the border,
to get the supplemental funding, all the things that the president believes is important, which includes border, but also Indo-Pacific, Israel, Ukraine, and if that gets sent to the president's desk, he will sign that.
But would he veto a standalone Israel bill if it passed both houses?
The president sees what we're hearing out of the House as a political ploy. I think he's focused on, and rightly so, on the terrific work that's been done on the Senate side in a truly bipartisan fashion to try to address all these national security challenges.
Okay, let me ask you finally, Jake, our new NBC News poll, which we were just discussing, found only 29% approve of President Biden's handling of the war in Gaza, 60% disapprove of his handling of foreign policy overall. Should the president be factoring the public's disapproval into his foreign policy decisions?
Well, I can't speak for the American people, but I can speak for the president. And the president every day is working tirelessly to deal with the threats and challenges we face in the Middle East.
Boeing's CEO said today that the company caused the problems with the 737 MAX and needed to return focus to safety. Obviously, in addition to the administration's role on ensuring air safety, the government is one of Boeing's biggest customers. So are you guys confident that the leadership at Boeing can execute that pivot back to safety?
Look, what we want to make sure, and what FAA wants to make sure, and it is their top priority, that we make the safety, obviously, the safety of Americans as they fly across the country, obviously, and beyond, is safe. And that is what we want to be very, very clear about. I can't speak to, obviously, there's an investigation going on. They're looking into it. I'm going to let that investigation go forth. I don't want to get ahead of that. But obviously, we're concerned. Obviously we're concerned. We want to put American safety. We put American safety first. That's what FAA does. But I'm not going to get into the leadership of Boeing. I'm not going to get into specifics of that. FAA has acted. They've taken action, and we're going to let that process move forward.
East Palestine. Why did the administration decide that things have, I guess, coalesced and it's now the time for President Biden to go?
So the mayor and community leaders invited the president to meet with East Palestine residents and also assess the recovery progress that's been going on for some time now, as you all know. And so the president had always said that he would go when it is most helpful to the community. And with this invitation, obviously, very recent, and the current status of the recovery, we felt that the time was right. Again, we got an invitation from the mayor and community leaders to come, and very, very recently. And so we are working with them to figure out the best time to do that in February.
And there isn't a date yet?
There's no date yet, but obviously we're working with community leaders, we're working with the mayor, elected officials to find the exact time and day to go in February.
And can you just square, the mayor has made some reported comments that seem less than inviting to President Biden to come, while praising former President Trump as actually having more impact on helping the situation, getting the ball moving as things have happened. Does the mayor, one, want President Biden to come? And two, why is from what you're saying, that he's inviting him?
Yeah, he is. I'm assuming he wants him to come if he's inviting him.
Why is he also at the same time? Have you guys gotten a sense? And does it matter to President Biden that he's at one end, he's sort of, dunking on him while also calling him to come and visit, from what you're saying?
So look, the invite came from the mayor and other folks on the ground. So I think that's important, right? The mayor obviously wants the President of the United States to be there. The President has always said he is a president for folks who live in red states, folks who live in blue state. Doesn't matter if you're in rural America, urban, suburban, he is a president for all. And so let's just never forget that. And I will also want to take a step back. Look, the mayor is allowed to say whatever he wants to say, but he also invited the president, this current president, to come. Look, this is, if you think about what happened in East Palestine on day one, within hours of the derailment, we were on the ground at the president's direction within hours. And he sent personnel there. This is the president, sent personnel there. EPA, DOT, FEMA, HHS have all been on the ground to support the community till this day. They're still on the ground today. And so, look, the president has been very clear. Anytime there is a situation that happens in a community that is devastated by whether it's a derailment or a natural disaster, obviously, the president says this all the time. He is there for that community for as long as it takes. And he's proven that. So he's looking forward to going to East Palestine in February. We're going to find the day that works best for the folks on the ground. He always said that when the time was right, it was the most helpful for him to be there, he was going to be there.
Well, we're going to work very hard to make our case to the American people that we are focused on finding common ground, exercising common sense, to deliver the common good and make progress for hardworking American families. If we are able to successfully articulate that vision for the future, people over politics, lower costs, better paying jobs, growing the middle class, safer communities, fixing our broken immigration system, I think we're going to be in a strong position in November to deliver a House Democratic majority.
Our deepest condolences go out, and our heartfelt condolences go out to the families who lost three brave three folks who are military folks, who are brave, who are always fighting, who are fighting on behalf of this administration, of the American people. Obviously, more importantly, we lost those souls.
She's very bad at her job.
Yeah.